I used to work out a lot with weights, and the check comes doing that. Your joints start to hurt, this, back, knees. It just happens. Sometimes getting in that kind of shape can kill you. There's fantastic trainers like Jeff CAVALIERE on ATHLEAN-X. His videos are amazing. But at my age, I found the hardest, toughest, most productive way is bands, training with bands.
I can't argue with a thing he said. What's up, guys? Jeff CAVALIERE, ATHLEAN-X.com. Look, I am not one to ever argue with Sylvester Stallone. Matter of fact, anybody that's followed me knows he was my childhood inspiration for doing what I do today. So to hear those words come from him is literally the pinnacle of what it means to me to do what I'm doing right now. That being said, the bands and the comment about bands, guys, I am putting together a whole new series here for you starting today on the best exercises you can do with bands, because I think they're one of the most underappreciated, underutilized tools that we should all be using, not just as we get older, but right now to make better gains. Today, it all starts with the chest exercises, guys, the 8 best. Let's start breaking them down one by one. And we started right off here, guys, with a powerful one that's going to make you feel a chest contraction like maybe never before, all with the use of just a single band. And it's called the saw. It's not a crossover. Okay, a crossover would take your arm out in front of your body, but that invites a lot more shoulder into the exercise. We want to limit this as much as we can to the chest to enhance the work done by the chest. So with the saw setup, you take a band like this, you anchor it about chest height to something sturdy, you put your hand inside the band with the elbow locked in place, because what you want to do is allow the elbow to power your arm to drive across the chest. Again, it's not about getting your arm away from your chest. You simply just drive your hand across your body into adduction. If we can drive this even an extra inch, you'll feel even more of a contraction. Speaking of adduction, one of my favorite ways to actually include it into a more standard exercise that you can do at home or anywhere, like a push-up, is to simply anchor the band to a low point here, grab hold of it, and then perform this crossover push-up. And you can see that I perform a regular push-up unaltered, but as I come to the top, I'm able to take my arm, reach it across my body against the resistance of the band to get that resisted adduction and increase the overall effect on my chest. It's a simple modification to a standard exercise, but it results in bigger dividends for you in your chest gains. Exercise number 3, while we're talking about push-ups, is actually just a resisted push-up. And I know a lot of people have probably done this before, but are you doing it the right way? See, what I like to do is turn this more into a speed pressing exercise. So I take the band and I wrap it around my body, and I have good resistance at the top of the exercise. As I push up, I'm encountering more and more force. My goal is to drive you into full extension of your elbows as powerfully and as quickly as possible. If you just take it and you go at a slow pace, I think you lose a lot of the benefits of the movement. Now, we don't have to restrict ourselves to just a push-up on the floor. If you have access to a bench and you want to turn this into a more standard bench press feel, then you simply anchor the band under the bench like this, take hold of each side of the loop, and then again, drive your hands up over your body with power and speed. Don't make this a slow exercise. The faster you go, the faster you'll start to see better benefits from it. Now, if the more traditional standing version of a banded bench press is something you're looking to do, then exercise number 4 is tailor-made for you with one very important modification. You see, we call this the wraparound press. And you take the band and once again, you anchor it to something behind you. What you do, though, is you allow your elbows to flare out a bit to the side, which is actually a natural pressing position for a standard bench press anyway. But what's important about this is it creates the sort of wraparound or the corner effect that the band has to go around, which will actually introduce some adduction stresses to the exercise too, those all-important adduction stresses. So what I do is instead of having my elbows tucked to my side and pressing straight out, by just flaring them a little bit, you can see that now the band wraps around the corner of my delt. And that right there provides the resistance that I need as I bring my hands across into adduction. You can actually see the resistance on the band change as it gets a little slack when I pull into adduction, but we're getting both the elements of pushing our hands away and across that makes this a better version of a standing press. So as we head to exercise number 5, you might be asking yourself, this is great, Jeff, but what do I do for my upper chest? Actually, there's a few things you can do that are tailor-made and actually maybe even better with bands than potentially even with the dumbbell version. And this is called the upper chest pullover. And I've shown this to you before on how effective it is to change a traditional lat exercise to more of an upper chest exercise by modifying the position of our hands as we do it. But the band actually does this even better because I hook my hands in this position on the bands, and what I'm trying to do is actually squeeze the back of my hands together, create internal rotation. Now you might be saying, wait, Jeff, In internal rotation, that never happens. Most of the times it wouldn't, but we're not actually going into elevation. We're actually bringing our arms down, away from elevation, while we get into internal rotation. So we're not looking at the same impingement stresses that we might get. But what it will do is it gets that squeeze again in adduction with our arms operating in that same position that they would be in a normal incline bench press. So we're getting that better activation of the clavicular fibers of the upper chest. Give this one a try, guys. I promise you the banded pullover will light your upper chest up like never before. And with exercise number 6, we're going to stick with that upper chest. This one's called the prone punch out. What it is basically simulating the same line of push that we would have in a traditional incline dumbbell press, except we do this down on the floor. And as we press the arm out in front of us, I'm almost dragging it across the floor. Of course, it's off the ground, but I'm keeping it low, because what I'm trying to simulate here, guys, is this. The same angle here, because whether I'm down here on the ground, if I sit up, you can see that this is actually the same angle of push that we would have on a traditional dumbbell or barbell incline press. That's the way we're going to hit the upper chest here, guys, and just because you're using bands, it doesn't mean you have to compromise that goal. So now 6 exercises down, 2 to go. We've talked about the upper chest, we talked about the middle chest. How do we hit the lower chest or the abdominal head? Well, we know we can do dips to do that. And the best thing about bands is they take dips and they make them a lot better. If we want to, we can use them in an assisted way. Right? Let's say you struggle with dips right now. The bands can actually become your best friend because you can anchor them across the handles and then simply put your knees on top of them to assist you at the hardest position of the dip, which would be the bottom coming up to the top. But if you're really looking for more of a challenge, you put those bands over your back and then you perform the resisted dip. And I can tell you right now, this is 60 pounds of extra resistance here. This makes each and every rep more difficult. The difficulty level as it goes up should increase the stimulus on your chest and therefore the gains that you see from doing it. And that brings us to exercise number 8, and I'm going to go back to the adduction one more time because I don't think we get enough of it when you think about those classic chest exercises, bench press, dips, and push-ups. We don't do it often enough. So the Cavalier crossover is a great way to incorporate it with a band. You just anchor it right down to a low point like that, and you perform it like this. It's the adduction of the arm across the chest that makes this as powerful as it is for getting that better chest contraction. It doesn't have to be the hand coming all the way across the body. It simply has to be the bicep getting closer to the midline of the chest. And that is exactly what happens under the resistance of the band in the Cavalier crossover. And so with that, guys, whether you're listening to Sly or to me or to both, you guys should know by now the value of bands is definitely something that cannot be underappreciated. If you're looking to do more than just your chest, guys, make sure you subscribe to our channel. And all the series here, this entire series will cover all the different muscle groups and the exercises you can do with the bands. If you're looking for bands themselves, guys, we actually have our own ElastiX available over at ATHLEAN-X.com to go with all the programs that we have at ATHLEAN-X.com as well. If you like the video and you like the series, make sure you leave your comments below. Tell me what else we want to see next. And also, if you haven't done so, make sure you click subscribe, turn your notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.